I've been trying to tell people for years, because people always bring up the so-called substitution hypothesis that we're substituting one religion for another religion,
Hmm.
and the decline in religiosity. People are searching for meaning, and this is where they find meaning. And
Yeah.
no doubt there's some degree of that, but the psychosocial reasons behind religious adherence are pretty well established in the academic literature on psychology of religion. And one of them is, in fact, a meaning-making structure. And another one is to define social groups. And a third one is a control axis. It is to obtain a sense of, whether it's genuine or not, a sense of control over the environment you find yourself in and yourself. And what I've been saying is that the woke phenomenon is not best characterized for most of its adherents by filling it, well, at least that's complicated, because there are like what I would
Why can't it
gently
be
call the outer
multi-dimensional?
school,
Yeah.
the
What?
the people who have just kind of picked it up, the idiot woke, and then
Yeah.
there's like the hard woke, which are like the inner school of woke thought. The outer school is there for social reasons and meaning making. They just want to be a good person, they want to fit in, blah blah blah. The inner school is there on a control axis malfunction. They want to be able to control the milieu that is literally, they want to affect what's called milieu control in cult psychology literature. And those people are not responding to the pressures for sociality and meaning making. Those people are responding to a feeling as if the society that they find themselves in, or the social environment that they find themselves in, or the psychological environment they are in themselves is out of control, and they need
Hmm.
to regulate it in order to regain control of it. So it's a
Yeah.
control axis problem. And if you try to medicate the fact that you have busybodies who have occupied positions of authority who are control axis issues by filling in meaning some other way, in a way that may actually be alienated and disconnected from the group you're trying to affect, which is that outer school wokey group, you are going to have a huge problem in solving the problem. And what you're seeing right now in live, like playing out live, is that, I mean, the general rule with drugs is that as you desensitize to a drug, as you acclimatize, what's the word for that? Do you know the word?
Dude, I
Like
think
if I need
acclimatize
5 drinks today to get drunk, but I
Yeah,
need 7 drinks
tolerance.
tomorrow.
You develop a
Yeah, yeah, is your
tolerance.
tolerance?
Yeah,
There's a name for
something.
this.
Yeah, there's a
Anyway,
name.
is
Yeah.
that occurs, right? As that occurs, what you need is not a different drug. Usually, you need a harder drug, typically. So the people who are these wokies just trying to feel like good people and just trying to fit in, blah, 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 and they're there on a meaning making and maybe even social, but primarily meaning making vacuum axis, those people are not going to be satisfied by anything except extremism, which is why you're watching them now. Like you're watching the non-binary dude, blatantly a dude, dancing around saying he started to read the Quran and is having a religious experience, and now he's going to become a Muslim. And it's like, you should just keep reading a little more of your Quran and see what it says about some of your life choices
Hmm.
while you're at it, and then look around in the world and see how they practice that. Just out of consistency. Cafeteria Islam is not really this huge thing, as far as I
Mm.
understand. But what they're going to turn to is something harder. And so, in a sense, these kind of Christian nationalist Theo bro hard asses sort of have a point. They don't have a good point in the sense of it's a good idea, but they have a point, which is that the only kind of Christianity that's going to pull these people back is the kind that's actually a harder drug than woke intolerance. In other words, it's got to be even more intolerant, even more extreme, even more
Mm.
collectivist, even more cultic in order to attract that attention. It would be far better to start convincing these people, A, that the woke cult that they're in is actually not that great. It's not making their lives better. It's not making them happy. It's not producing good social environments. And B, more importantly, with cult deprogramming, that it is okay to leave. There are so many people, you hear this from detransitioners a lot. I'm sure you've talked to them. There are so many people who are in and they stay in, even though they don't love being in, because nobody's given them permission to leave yet. It's the weight of being wrong is too high. So they're caught just on this weird like momentum that creates a potential well that keeps them inside. And once they understand, hey, I walked away too. Hey, I had it wrong, and now I feel like I woke up from a cult. That's why Brandon Straka's walk away movement was so big. That's why I put a feeler out
Woke
on
away?
Twitter the other night, which was the woke up.
Oh,
I
woke
woke
up.
up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not woke
woke up.
away.
I
Awoke
would love to
begun?
see. I don't want to do it. Like, I'm not coordinating that, but I would love to see somebody take that torch and run to the top of Rainier and shine a light down to the entire world of I woke up. There are a lot of people who either left the cult of thinking conservatives are de facto evil, or that woke is like good in making social environments better, and they woke up. And I've heard it from hundreds, or at least hundreds, maybe thousands of people, that it felt like I left a cult. It felt like I was leaving a cult over and over and over again. Get those stories going, because those stories are going to convince that vast group that they have permission to step away from something they already feel like is probably kind of toxic, without having this feeling like they need to step into something even more radical in a different direction as a complete rejection. And
Yeah.
what's funny for me with this post-liberal Theo bro bullshit is an NRX, whatever we want to call it, is they are so angry and down on the new atheist movement, but it's literally they are like the new atheists for the woke. They're like the extreme. Let's turn around and throw the rocks at the cathedral that like we were
Huh.
kind of sucked in on this, and we're super pissed off that it got us. Like, the atheist movement went full ass woke, not because it was atheist, but because it was overwhelmingly filled with pissed off feminists and gay activists who left Christianity that it felt like was oppressing them. So these guys are going to try to soak up a bunch of people who are either lightly woke or felt oppressed by woke or trapped by woke, and they're going to turn around and throw rocks at the cathedral, but they're literally just becoming the same idiotic thing, which is kind of why all the same patterns play out in those places.